Hi, and welcome to Sweet Bee here at Professor B Studios. This is our live stream series highlighting artists in and around our area. I'm Mike Bennett, and I've got the extreme pleasure this evening of sitting down with a couple of what I'm learning to be amazing people. We've had quite a blast talking before the show, and I look forward to talking to them even more now for you guys so that you can get to know them just a little bit better. So please welcome to the show, his and hers. This is Caleb and Sarah. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Awesome. Happy to be here.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. I want to jump right in because the more I looked, the more I was like, this is going to be one of those ones where I'm going to get flagged down off camera for running too long. Because there's a lot I want to talk about because this actually goes all the way back to high school for you guys. So can we talk just a little bit before we jump into music stuff about high school, each other, and what it was like getting started?
Sure. So I was 14.
Yeah.
Caleb was 15.
Yeah. I see 14 and 15-year-olds now, and it's shocking that we're that young.
I've got a 15-year-old.
That was me. That was me. Yes, Sarah's mom was the music teacher at the high school, so I met the mom and sort of found out that this was her daughter. And, the rest is. When you spend 2 periods a day for 3 or 4 years together and plays, and we were in the Sound of Music together. And that kind of stuff too. Then, love buds. So.
Yeah. So is that how you remember it too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right after we started dating, I got my license too. So that helped skyrocket our
Where were you driving?
our relationship.
A silver VW Beetle.
Volkswagen Beetle.
Nice.
A new Beetle.
A new
Not
Beetle.
even a cool old
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
like a
yes.
little flower.
Did it dance? Was it?
Yeah, that little.
I had
flower?
a hula girl in my car.
She did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so there were common interests.
Oh, yeah.
Even in the smallest things getting started. So
Yeah.
when did you guys? I mean, obviously, you grew up around it.
Yeah.
You were pursuing it, meaning music. At what point did you decide that you guys were going to be doing any of that together beyond classroom?
It wasn't really until we were married and had kids, honestly.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so I was in a band or two in college and played in like a cover duo for a little while. After we had our first son, who's 9 now, that sort of stopped for a while.
Right.
Then as they got older, I wanted to get back into it. So I believe it was at a wedding, Holly Vine's wedding, actually.
Yeah.
We were asked to sing at a wedding, and we went and sang, and we're like, we should give this a shot, like me and like friend Lucas did. We should give this a shot like you and Lucas did. So we started out doing the same kind of thing, playing cover songs at bars, restaurants, and whatnot, and then sort of took off from there. It's probably 5 years ago when we started playing together.
Okay.
Yeah. And we had both sang just out anyway. I mean, I had sang separately, and he had sang in church for
But we decided
forever,
to sort of create his and hers then.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's hard when you have kids to practice and that kind of stuff. So it's perfect. We got our bandmate.
Yeah.
There in the same house.
You can end up having time at the same time.
We put the kids to bed, and then we go practice.
Right.
Yeah.
It works out really well. So how does that and being at that phase of life when you're kind of, because you both have history in it. So as you're reinventing it with the new normal, because you're doing it around family instead of the freedom of either being single or just a couple or whatever, as you're recreating that, how does that influence? I mean, obviously the rehearsal stuff, but the songwriting, because you're not just doing covers. I mean, you've got a healthy stable of originals that are out there in the world now that people can go enjoy. We'll talk about a little bit more about that in a little bit. But how does the circumstance? Because if nothing else, in trying to play catch up and listening to you guys over the past several days, I found that there's some very, very visual like representation in the lyric, and it paints sometimes a very, I mean, there may be subtext to it, but sometimes a very obvious, this is a situation in a story. And I'm just wondering how much of that is because of this new normal and how much of it is old experiences coming back into it.
I think it's just completely his songwriting, because I've done Family Land.
She's really good at concepts and ideas, and I sort of help them build. But honestly, I think our songwriting really, or my choice and what I choose to write about and the lyrics I write and that kind of stuff really started to blossom whenever whenever we started playing together, because she'll be honest with me. You know, when I was in college bands, it was more alternative rock, and I always tried to be cryptic and whatever. But she would encourage me to just be honest and say what you're thinking, and not try to be like make people have to figure it out.
Super conceptual. Where,
Right.
Yeah, people don't have to figure it out. It's
Sure.
just.
Yeah, she would tell me, she's like, nobody's gonna like this.
I know.
She'd just straight up, okay, there we go.
Nah, I don't like
Thanks.
it.
And then having and being close to family and having kids,
Right.
And living close to our families, and living in our hometown again, all those sort of feelings that evokes really are what influenced most of our music, and still does. So.
One of them we wrote whenever we were doing Adopt a Highway for our church.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just kind of that's kind of the concept, I guess, where I'm good at.
Sure.
Oh, I should write a
This would
song
be a cool
about
song.
this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And then he.
A song called Johnny Bootlegger off of our new album.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We found a bottle of
We
Johnny
found
Bootlegger.
an airplane bottle.
Yeah.
I had never
And it was-
heard of Johnny Bootlegger before,
Went
so.
home and wrote a song about it.
And you have a song.
Yep, that's
Yeah,
it.
That's amazing. So, two-part question, because I think we've got a little bit of a picture of where some of your musical and the instrumental background stuff kind of enters the picture. Where did the mandolin come in along the way, and how has it changed how you approach the music you're doing?
It's. I mean, I'm very much still learning. I'm very much a beginner, but I really just wanted to play mandolin. I thought it was
really?
a cool instrument. But
Yeah.
I took piano for a decade.
Okay.
So it has been a hard translation though for me to go from piano to a percussion instrument.
Right.
It's yeah.
Yeah,
It's been difficult,
so
honestly.
she was, I always joke and say she was about 14 months pregnant with our youngest, and it was right around her birthday, so I went to a local music shop, and it was hanging on the wall. So I got it, brought it home, and said, "Look what I got you." He was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, great, okay," and it really
that's
took her
fantastic.
probably a year once Cass was about a year old
Yeah.
to really start picking it up and learning it. So,
Gotcha.
but I am a lot more conscientious now to choose and write songs and keys that I know she'd be comfortable with. And,
Right.
Yeah.
And most of our songs don't have a lot of minor chords in them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not only for feel, but also because it's
Yeah.
convenient for Sarah to play with.
Maybe they will once we do it. That's developed.
Learn a few more chords, and we
Yeah.
can do it. We can do a song
And
in a
our
minor
songs
key
are
now.
different, yeah.
Yeah.
So I am still learning since I'm off for the summer. That's the main focus for
Oh,
this
really?
summer. Yeah.
I will say to her credit, she has done awesome picking it up, especially over the last probably 9 months to a year.
I get
Yeah.
more comfortable with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
the more-
Well, it's one of the instruments I don't play.
Uh-huh.
So outsider looking in, if you hadn't said I'm a beginner, I
Oh,
would
yeah.
just been like, that's the part for that song. I
Well,
don't know if it's
we'll go and see people like we saw Nickel Creek in Brooklyn a couple weeks ago, and we'll go and see people like Chris Thiele, and it's like, whew, I have so much work to do.
Well, I mean, you can take away, it can be that, or it can be I'm just going to put it down because I'm nervous. So it's nice that
Yeah.
that's the direction you go. Is I've got work to do.
And it
opposed
has
to,
changed. Yeah, it
forget
has
this.
changed
We'll
our
forget
music because he does. We write with that in mind now.
Sure.
Yeah,
Where
she
we
said, "What
did
key
it
is that in?"
before.
And I'll tell her. It's like, "How about you
Okay,
play
hold
it?"
on,
And
I'll
so
pick it
so.
up and
Okay,
I'll.
perfect, got it.
Yeah.
So when you're accounting for it, when you're leaving space for it, do you think of it as another voice, or as another part of the instrumentation, or
The
a
mandolin?
little bit of both? Yeah.
When I write, I try to think of it as more of a rhythm. You know,
Okay.
'cause the mandolin
Because I'm
is-
still
is
at a
this-
chop level.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the snare drum of bluegrass or
sure.
traditional music.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I think of it as rhythm. I've always playing as a duo or out when she didn't have a mandolin. I've always sort of overcompensated the guitar. I feel like I'm playing more than I maybe would have if I
Right.
had something behind me.
Gotcha.
So it's been very freeing to have that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a little rhythm behind you.
Yeah, a little rhythm and a little bit of a sort of a mid-high end.
So is there
voice.
any because now that you've said that, I'm gonna have to go back and you're gonna answer what I'm gonna say, but I would go back and listen. So is there places where we find piano in some of your other stuff?
Not yet. No.
Okay.
Yeah,
Not yet.
well, actually, I have a buddy in Colorado. His name's
Yeah.
Paul Imes. One of our songs on our new record was just missing something. So
Yeah.
I sent it to him and he put some keys on it.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
not from us.
Okay.
Just from him.
So, but maybe because you say not yet.
Not
so
yet.
so possibly.
We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
Bringing a small
Yeah.
keyboard
that's
to,
awesome.
to sets to put some low end on.
Excuse me. So you just mentioned the new album, which is where I was wanting to go next. can you talk just a little bit about the album, the process, the story, what it is? Because I mean, this is a fairly new. I mean, obviously not new to you guys because you've lived with it for a while, but new to everybody else. It was the background track for some grilling on my deck here recently as I was trying to play catch up. So it works really well for that, by the way.
Good.
But can you just kind of just bring everybody up to speed? I mean, hopefully people will dive in the library and look a little further back. But for this new one, because that's kind of what you're right here on the back end of. What is it?
Yeah.
You know, what's it called? What's the story? A little bit about it.
The title of the record is Family Land. That comes from one of our tracks.
The one that you wrote.
Yes.
So
yes,
that's okay.
Yes. Yeah, I knew what I needed to do.
Got it. Okay.
No, it's that song is really about sort of our story of growing up in a small town, thinking that it's not what we're looking for, going to something else and realizing that everything we loved was still there. So coming back. So that's
we live on family land.
Right.
Gotcha.
And all of our family, his family included, is all in Davie County. So even just Davie County is family land to us.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty special.
Yeah. And then the album as a whole is just sort of centered around sense of community and friendship and love and all the normal album kind of things. But just really the whole album was sort of built around that song that we wrote.
So when you write an album, I mean, not just a song, but when you write an entire album that's based around things so close to home, do you ever worry about how it's received by the other people who are living
Sometimes.
in that?
Yeah, I think
do.
so.
We have one song called "Mama's Not Here" on our album, and that's about my dad's mom. So it's that's a pretty personal song. And the first time you heard it, I was like, "How'd you like that?"
Yeah.
But it's something that I felt like I needed to write. So.
Yeah, it's powerful. And not knowing, obviously listening, not knowing the reference, you could attach it to a number of stories.
Sure.
I mean, it's just one of those that you can connect to something personal, even if it's not,
good.
knowing your. No, seriously. I mean,
good.
it's one of those songs which is a testament not just to the writing but also to what it is and the way it's being lived. So, being this close to home and staying active in the area and stuff like that, how far is the reach? I mean, when you guys go play, are you going out of state, out of town, what's kind of your coverage?
We stay within an hour of where we live, I'd say.
I think it's still based on the kids too.
And that's kind of where I was going with that. Is how does that play in?
Just don't
both
want
of our
to
parents are amazing to help us out with the kids, so we can do this.
Yeah.
They're with her mom and dad right now.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah. So it really
hopefully
depends.
They've got it on and they're watching.
Right.
Get in bed at some time.
Right.
Yeah. So it really does depend on.
It does, and we don't want to miss anything with the kids.
Yeah.
So.
Part of us wants to go for it, but then a part of us realizes that we can't be selfish about everything.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And there's a cost to either side of the equation.
Right.
They love the van though. So.
Okay. Well, there you go. Okay. So new van.
New van.
Newly off of the wheels that were attached to your knee.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was the last way I saw you.
That was like my gift to myself.
Yeah.
I bought a van on Father's Day.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. His and hers tour van.
Never thought we would see the day.
It's got a little bed and a TV in it. It's
awesome.
Yeah, the kids love it. Yeah.
That's kind of the same as bluegrass music. Growing up, I hated bluegrass music because my dad wanted.
Yeah.
My dad listened to all the old guys, and I hated it. And then
You hear Bill Monroe ringing from the.
Yes, I mean, I was too young to appreciate it then,
Sure.
obviously. But now my dad will frequently bring up, "Do you remember how much you hated it?"
Yeah.
And so now, do you
And what
remember
are-
how
and what are
much
you
we
doing-
hated
what
a
are you
van?
doing tonight?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And she would have been horrified if we would
Oh
have
my
bought a
goodness,
van
yeah.
3 or 4
Oh, yeah.
years ago.
Man, yeah.
But now we have a big gold van sitting in our front yard.
Fantastic. Time to put a logo across it.
Oh yeah.
His and hers mobile.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Custom tags and everything. All right.
Absolutely.
I want to kind of get us into a break because we definitely want to hear you guys play tonight and hear a little bit about your songs and stuff. But before we do that, I always like to give the people who are watching a little bit of a quick homework assignment and say, go find your pages, go throw you some likes, follow you on whatever social medias, bookmark your website, look at calendar dates. So if you can kind of let them know what have you got coming up, can they find you, all that, and then we're going to kick over to a break.
Great. We are at all of our handles is His and Hers NC, His and Hers NC. So hisandhersnc.com, facebook.com/His and Hers, Instagram. The whole 9. So you can find us there for sure. We're on all of the streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes. Our shows coming up next week, June 27th, we're at O'Callahan's in Mocksville, North Carolina. That Saturday the 29th, we are going to be at 64 Bistro, which is also out in Davie County. It's a new, really cool venue. And then we're really excited about the 30th, which is Sunday. Kim Stewart, our coworker, is struggling with breast cancer right now, so we're planning a benefit for her with Down the Mountain. It's going to be at Brookberry Farms at the barn out there. So we are really excited like that. We like to invite everyone out there to come and support that effort.
And buy a possum pie T-shirt.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Are you playing that? Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
No,
Not tonight. Okay.
No,
All right.
not tonight.
Okay.
No.
All right. That's good.
But we will play it that day.
That's one they'll have to come.
Yeah, you
definitely
gotta
come see you in here.
Come check that one out for sure. All the proceeds from all of our sales will go to the family and everything.
That's awesome.
It's going to be great.
So, all right. So we're going to take a really quick break and be right back with His and Hers and hear a couple of songs from them.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for watching tonight. We're His and Hers. This first song is off our new record. It's called The Carolina Waltz. 1, 2, 3. My tuner's still on. This isn't live, is it? Can we... 1, 2, 3. Look in the mirror and see my flowers fading, and I think of all I've lost. But in my mind I go back to the memories of you and me and the Carolina Wall. When we danced while the dogwoods were blooming, and we danced while the cardinals were singing, and we danced by the ocean roaring. You did the Carolina Waltz with me. And I'm sure a tear will fall, and as they lay you down for the last time, I remember our Carolina Waltz. When we danced while the dogwoods were blooming, and we danced while the cardinals were singing, and we danced by the ocean roaring. You did the Carolina Waltz with me, and we danced while the dogwoods were blooming, and we danced while the cardinals were singing, and we danced by the ocean roaring. You did the Carolina Waltz with me. You did the Carolina Waltz with me. Thank you.
Thank you.
This next song is the title track of our new record. We mentioned it earlier in the interview, but it tells the story of when we grew up in a small town and moved away and realized what all we were missing when we came back. So it's called Family Land.
She waits her turn. Things stay the same even though they're different. You don't miss what you've got until it's gone. So I packed up and I got out of the city to find myself a brand new history. And I found out that my world is bigger on the land that raised my family. So I packed up and I got out of the city
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
First of all, thank you again. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
Great to hear you guys in person finally. I'm going to come check out a full show at some point. One more time before we tell everybody bye, could you just kind of let them know once again where they can find you and where to see you coming up?
Sure, absolutely. hisandhersnc.com is our website, and our Facebook and Instagram handles are also his and hers NC. All of our shows are listed on our Facebook. That's probably the best way to follow us.
Awesome. Thank you guys again for being on the show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you in a couple weeks.